it gives me unbelievably a great amount of pleasure to introduce our next city manager, Patrick Urich.
It's kind of funny, as I was walking over here from the county courthouse today, one of my employees, as I was walking out the door, said, "You've got a big decision to make today." And I said, "Well, I think I've already made that decision." And she says, "No, when are you going to close the courthouse?" So put it all in perspective. First, let me thank the City Council for considering me for the position of City Manager. I look forward to hopefully working with you in the future. Thanks to the County Board and all the staff and elected officials in Peoria County for having the faith in me and for the accomplishments that we achieved over the last 10 years. Tommy, thank you for all your leadership and friendship. I really appreciate it very much. I'm really excited about the prospect of serving as the Peoria City Manager for many reasons. I've lived in Peoria for 10 years. My wife and I have grown to love and appreciate everything about the city. In my profession, it's really uncommon for us to be able to gain new professional opportunities without uprooting your family and leaving. So we're really thrilled about the process of being able to stay here in the community. I believe I can help to tackle some of the challenges that the city has in its present challenges. And the mayor mentioned in his State of the City address that the government needs to be more focused, more customer-driven, more creative, more flexible while becoming smaller and less expensive. This is no small chore, but I think that I wholeheartedly agree with it. And I believe that we can work with the council to achieve that. So some of the things I really want to just touch upon quickly, and then I want to answer any of your questions that you have, is first and foremost, I think we need to look at working on trying to achieve financial solvency. You know, for me, it's gaining a firm grasp on the depth of the structural deficit the city is facing. While we didn't get here overnight, we need to address it quickly, creatively, and transparently. Second, we need to dig into the cost drivers that are causing the deficit, notably pensions and health care. Third, we need to define service levels and core services. It's important that the public knows that the service levels and services that the city provides will continue to evolve and change over time. Secondly, as the mayor mentioned, we want to try and help the city council articulate policy priorities that will guide city operations. It's important that we begin to engage the council in the strategic planning process to define their goals, that we can align our budget decisions within the council's strategic goals, and then provide clarity both to the organization and to the public about where the attention of the council will be and how the resources of the city will be directed. And then lastly, that we cultivate the organization to maximize our cost effectiveness. I want to spend some time talking with the employees and get to know them, to understand their motivations and concerns. I really want to get to know the department heads and the elected office holders and the elected officials, the elected council, to identify what issues and opportunities they see for city government. I want to make sure that we're developing a restructuring plan that efficiently streamlines the organization and that we clearly articulate performance goals for each of our service areas with appropriate metrics to benchmark our performance. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
It's been stated that you'll start in April. Is that true? Do you have an exact start date?
One of the commitments that I made to the county board is that I would give them 90 days. That would end somewhere in the area of around April 8th. So sometime beginning in the middle of April, I would anticipate I would be available to start here.
Do you have a goal date for the staff reorganization or reorganization plan? Or are you going to be doing that, or will the council be doing that?
Well, any recommendations would have to go through the council for reorganization and restructuring, but I do think that as soon as we can possibly begin to discuss reorganization and restructuring, that we do it as fast as possible. Ideally, if we can get focused on setting some strategic goals initially up front, that's going to help to drive some of those decisions, and then that's going to hopefully help to drive some of the budget decisions as well.
Patrick, so many times we brought outside managers in. We are fortunate to have you here locally. Is that going to be a bigger help or maybe a hindrance of people who've known you, or do you see it going both ways?
I see it as a strength that I've been in the community for 10 years. I know some of the challenges that I think that the city is facing. I want to get, in my view, get up to speed on some of those issues in greater depth, but I'm really looking forward to it, so I think it's a strength.
Patrick, I guess just the question is from your own standpoint professionally. It's been said that perhaps you might have had other opportunities elsewhere. Why City of Peoria? Why go from the county? You spent 10 years there. Why come over here with all the challenges that the city faces?
You know, I think probably the most significant reason for me is the opportunity to serve in a community that I really love. My wife and I have 3 kids that have been born in this community. We consider ourselves Peorians now, and the opportunity to serve this community and try and help to make a difference is what really appealed to me.
Did it help that they came after you so quickly after you announced you were leaving the county?
It didn't hurt.
Were there other communities seeking you out, and
They're looking at a couple of other
would you care to discuss with those other opportunities?
Patrick, there's a lot of talk somewhere down the line. The mayor is fond of consolidating things, streamlining things, saving money on budget. This whole thing comes through eventually down the line of the county, city. Where do you see yourself in that then?
Well, I think one of the other strengths that I have, if we're talking about shared services, is the opportunity to having 10 years of experience with the county, knowing the culture, working closely with the county board, knowing the department heads, many of those department heads that work for the county, I've actually had the opportunity and good fortune to hire. So I think that it is an advantage as we begin to talk about that for the community in general. I think those are issues that over time take a lot of consultation between the policymakers. They need to talk about whether or not this makes sense. And ultimately, that's the direction that we'll have to decide is where do the policymakers see that, both from the county board and the city council, to see if that's something that we can pursue.